suggest people going into college and higher education and being informed, but also helping people while during they're in school and potentially even taking on more debt, and then looking at solutions targeted to those existing debt holders. And I think we covered all three of those areas. Prepare income and first generation students with financial options to work for their advantage. And again, I believe that of our 8 recommendations, many of them do accomplish that. And targeted aid would be one that would be absolutely at the front end of that. Ensure Wisconsinites are able to receive higher education moving forward without the fear of encumbering excessive student debt. And we everything from college affordability topics to also that front end financial literacy, and making sure that students and their families can go into higher education with a better armed with knowledge, so that they can understand better the debt that they're taking on, and the value of it in some cases too. We talked about how student debt isn't always all bad, that it's an investment in your future. Communicate with Wisconsin students about managing debt and balancing financial goals. Again, in the Borough Education and Management, that was a big part of it and will be a big part of the recommendations, along with having an ombudsman and a Borough Bill of Rights, and really having that single point of contact within state government that can be that advocate and champion for those before student debt, during student debt, and while holding student debt. Keep informed about repayment plans, loan forgiveness, and laws surrounding their options. And again, I think that gets at that Borough Bill of Rights, the Ombudsman, and the great work that our Higher Education AIDS Board, Executive Secretary Connie Hutchinson does, and their group, along with our College Affordability Specialist, Cheryl Rapp. So I think I feel we've covered a lot of the shared goals that were proposed by all of you at the onset of this endeavor. So our journey, whatever we want to call it. And go to the next. And if you have comments, feel free, as always, to chat in along the way. Again, our journey took us through 8 meetings. We tried to take your ideas from the survey we did at the beginning to provide interesting and topical presentations, supported with reading materials along the way. You kind of see our journey right in front of us. I will say that in the 3 months between launch on May 13th and today, I think we may have been one of the most, I'll say, efficient task forces in terms of getting a late start due to the pandemic, but also being able to hit our deadline and wrap up in mid-August so that we can present our findings in time for the next budget process and budget cycle, so that those recommendations can be considered by Governor Evers and by others and looked at as part of the next biennial budget process. Just a little bit of a journey. I will also say, I know that meeting virtually had both its pros and its cons. So for those of you that have served on state task forces before, generally they run a little bit longer. They're face-to-face, and you can build a little bit greater sense of community. The chit-chat before the meeting and on breaks and after, and getting to know people a little deeper is really a nice feature that I have to say we couldn't replicate 100% in this environment. So I really appreciate all of you and your flexibility and the way that you were able to make the best of the situation that we had and the constraints that we had. I also were some benefits to meeting virtually, and just talking to many of you and throughout the time. A lot of you have told me that you really appreciated the fact that you didn't have to like run from one meeting to the next, jump in a car, drive, worry about parking, worry about finding the right room in the building we were meeting at, and then driving home, and just the amount of time, extra time that it takes. So I think there was some semblance of people enjoying the fact that they could just be here, be present, and be a bit more engaged. I also think that making the best of the tools that we had, really, I appreciate our wizard, Cody Kastorf, who was behind the scenes, really trying to help make sure that the experience was good. So, so we had 8 meetings beginning to end. Again, this is really commencement in that now these recommendations will move forward. And it'll be exciting to see how they traverse through the next budget process and the legislative season that will ensue after. The next slide. We have reviewed periodically, I think at most of our meetings, what success looks like. And this is really taken from the executive order that Governor Evers issued to call this task force together. Again, examining debt from many angles and viewpoints. When we look at that roll call list and we see all the diverse viewpoints and expertise, I think we've looked at this issue from many viewpoints and angles. Hearing from all of you, having 37 proposals, and the debate and dialogue and discussion. I hope that you all felt heard and that had multiple ways in which, whether you could participate at the meetings themselves, which almost all of you did at some point, and also the ability to submit your own recommendations and proposals. I hope that you all feel that your voice was heard. Research proposed solutions to address issues outlined in the executive order. And going back to the worksheet that we used last time, and that bridge back to the executive order, I feel like that we did cover and hit all the marks in the executive order. Developing sound recommendations on how Wisconsin can tackle the student debt problem. And I'll do these two together, producing a body of knowledge for Governor Evers and others to consider to use to address student debt in Wisconsin. Again, with 37 recommendations, I look at that as an enormous toolkit for the governor to use. So all 37 of the recommendations will move forward, as you saw in the final draft report that we sent out last Friday. And we're giving him the entire toolbox with all the tools in them. We as a task force have said, of those 37 tools, we think that these 8 are the tools that would be most effective in addressing student debt in Wisconsin. So we've given him the entire toolbox, and we've recommended which screwdriver and which hammer to use and which drill bit to use, because as we're trying to solve and mitigate student debt in Wisconsin, we learned first in the first meeting there wasn't going to be a single magic bullet or one recommendation that was going to solve it. It was going to have to we were going to have to come at it from multiple angles in multiple ways. And so I believe that we have achieved that success, going back again to the executive order. All right, next slide we will look at is really just the final report. Woohoo, yay. So a lot of work and effort went into the report. Again, I hope you have had a chance to look at it. We sent it out last Friday. And if you go to the next report, or the next slide, Cody, we'll see on the table of contents, We tried to stay very true to the information that has been shared in the task force, provided an executive summary, looked at background, addressed the foundational issues. Those were the advocacy and the need for more data, sliced and diced in different ways, as well as disparate income, disparate impact, and making sure that all recommendations really focus on that to the extent that is possible. Some are much easier to do that and can be laser focused, but even things like tax credits, looking at ways in which we can target those vulnerable populations. And then you'll see in the appendix, we have the actual executive order, all of you, the members on the task force, the presenters, the topics, and supporting organizations that have helped us, as well as all 37 of the proposed solutions. So I think it's about 117 pages in total. And again, thank you to everyone that had a hand, all of you that had a hand in creating this final report. Again, hopefully you've had a chance to review it and look at it. And again, if in the acknowledgements, if we spelled your name wrong or your title, we want to make sure we get it absolutely correct. So please email us at our student debt task force email if we need to tweak any of that. We did hear from one person who got a promotion, so that was great. So we updated the title, that person. So if you go to the next slide, and I'll turn it back over to Michelle. We'd just like to get a little bit of feedback from all of you.
Yes, thank you. We'd like to hear from everyone and know, what did you learn from serving on the governor's task force on student debt? As the secretary just recapped the beginning question we posed to everyone before our first meeting, accomplishment. Now we'd like to look back at the process and the work that was done and hear from you about what you learned from serving on this task force. So if you would chat in your answers, then I will read through those. If you're unable to chat because you're on the phone, please just, take your phone off mute and lend voice to that so we can be sure that we are hearing from our members as it relates to this learning process. So we have the first comment in from Karen Bauer, and the comment is that there is a lot of energy and enthusiasm behind finding and effectuating solutions to the student loan debt issues that Wisconsinites are dealing with. Yeah, absolutely. I have learned a tremendous amount just facilitating this and not being an active task force member, so appreciate that comment tremendously. Other thoughts from individuals serving here for the last months? Oh, and Marisha, thank you. We do have a full house for anyone who's wondering. As roll call went, there were a few delays and technical glitches. I think we're all having them after months and months. Computers are getting tired, but everyone is here. We have a full roll call here today, so that's excellent. Anyone else that would like to share about their learning? Shannon Holsey, I appreciated the diversity of thought and strategy and effort put forward to build a better Wisconsin and provide a much needed resolution to the issue of student debt. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. And Lucy, I've learned so much more about the complexity of the situation students face and some of the ways I can help the students I serve moving forward. Fabulous. Derek Campbell, I learned that there is no cure-all solution to the student debt crisis. It's going to take collaboration from all of us to tackle this issue. Kiona Jones, the personal experiences and how they are impeding folks both personally and professionally in the state of Wisconsin. Happy to hear and learn the willingness to mitigate the issues with student loan debt in this state. Yeah, fabulous thoughts from everyone. Renee Gash, really well organized, thoughtful, and thorough government at its best. Thank you to the organizers. Well, thank you on behalf of the entire working group and all the presenters, and I know the secretary as well there. Sylvie, that how the majority of this process can be challenging, albeit proved how crucial and worthwhile taking this endeavor was. This was a great experience and one that requires effort from many in all paths of life in order to create a beneficial system. And Kiamani has said, I learned a great deal, primarily understanding the many impacts of student debt from an information gathering perspective. Alex Shade, when thinking about the BIPOC community and the needs of this community, I found the information around tribal colleges and the needs of those who attend to be very insightful and crucial to the conversations of working to lessen the burden of student debt. Michael Rosen, I learned a lot about what is being done and developed, so very valuable and productive relationships with participants I did not know prior to the task force. One of the things I love best about task force is everyone you meet. Senator Smith, I appreciated the experience so many from their own professional viewpoints. It gives me hope that these experts are willing and ready to fix the flaws in the system. And Jamie Miller, common theme is educating students before, during, and after loan process. Was so great to hear so many different perspectives that I never considered before. And on behalf of Representative Hesselbein, chatting in, I learned we have so much expertise in this state and made more connections. And Jody Chung, as a current borrower and someone who understands the student debt crisis in a personal way, serving on this task force has brought comfort knowing that I have played a part in actually the screen is jumping. Actually working on policy recommendations. It will be so rewarding to see how our steps impact the long-term effect of student debt in each respective demographics throughout Wisconsin. Also learning about the thought process in navigating the different obstacles, policy work from some brilliant people was enlightening to witness and be a part of. And Shane Maloney, I appreciate there are multiple ways to accomplish the same goal of reducing the debt impact of the most financially vulnerable families in Wisconsin. It was amazing to hear that there are experts, boots on the ground in all of the areas. And I really liked the collaboration from around the state. That collaboration is how we're going to make change. And then we have Paul Kundert, how complex the problem is and how much more could be done to help boost aid and help students better access it. And then Masood Akhtar, we have an opportunity to develop a successful model to addressing student debt issues. Once implemented, this could become a model for other states to follow the suit. And Renee Howard Paez, I will be sharing this experience with my students so they know how these processes work and that there are many folks fighting for them. Well, those are wonderful comments from my personal opinion here, and such great insights as well about the process and what we've learned, as well as how people will use this information moving forward in their own career paths and sharing it with others and in making change as well. So Secretary, those are just a number of thoughts. We still have a couple more coming in. I want to make sure we cover those. And so we have Kevin McShane. I appreciated the variety and diversity of thoughts from all members and the way all collaborated so well throughout the process. This is a complex issue and it takes this type of collaboration to make progress on it. I'm excited to see the next stages. Austin Hammond, I was really impressed by the various ideas and ways that we can address the issue at hand. I learned so much from my fellow task force members and really enjoyed serving as a member of this task force. Brandon Trujillo, what other states are doing and how we can use a similar roadmap to assist students in Wisconsin. And Michael Modersky has two things. One, the need for better data. And two, impressed with the ideas to address this issue from all angles. Loved the collaboration. And Connie Hutchinson, I appreciate even more the work the financial aid directors do for Wisconsin students. And with that, while we may not have heard from everybody, I think we have heard from a majority as to what they have learned here, and I will turn the microphone back over to the secretary.
Great, thank you. And thanks to all of you for sharing your wonderful comments. It's a little bit overwhelming. I think there are some key themes that I heard through that, one being collaboration. And again, we weren't in the same room. I do think that we have a network now that has been created that doesn't necessarily have to end with the task force. Feel comfortable picking up the phone, sending an email or a text to another task force member to maybe pick up something that was discussed and try new things along the way, and to work and to continue on that collaboration, I think is really, really important. We heard a lot about diversity of thought, and I absolutely think we heard from someone said brilliant minds, and I do believe that we had the cream of the crop in terms of expertise, bringing their knowledge to this task force. And I love the concept of taking this process and sharing it with students, and knowing that there are people that are fighting for them and trying to make change. And I'm so appreciative of the respectful way that everybody managed through this process. It was very collaborative, very respectful. It was truly civil dialogue and debate, and to me that makes my heart very happy. So we will close out without thank yous, and so if we turn to the next slide.
Secretary, I'm going to interrupt for just a moment before you move forward with that, and that a chat has come in asking a question about the title of one of the policies in the draft. How would you like to facilitate and handle those specific report question items?
So, Michael, if you just want to take your phone off mute and ask the question, that would be great.
Hi. Before I do that, I just want to thank everybody. I think it's been a wonderful process, and thank the leadership for doing this. I don't have it in front of me now because I'm looking at the whole picture, but it's the one about targeted aid and the promise. And the promise isn't in the title, and I wondered if there was a reason for that, or it seemed to me it should be, because we're talking both about targeted aid and the potential for some kind of statewide promise. So I'll just that was my concern. It's not the content of the proposal at all, but it's how it's listed in, titled and in the appendix. Because when people quickly look at a report, they'll look at the 8 titled proposals and they won't see anything about the promise there. And so I wondered if that should be somehow incorporated into the title.
Okay, yeah, and we'll definitely take a look at my guess, Michael, with all the editing that went on and trying to fit things on one page, that it's clearly in the recommendation. It may have just the title might have just gotten shortened. So we'll take that as a follow-up and take a look at that. Thank you. All right. Any other come in, Michelle?
No, not at this time. And I think that might be a good transition point. If anyone has any of those questions, is the email box the best place to just get those submitted following the meeting so they can be examined?
Absolutely. So now is time where we all take out the cake, and in a lot of task force, they have a sheet cake to celebrate. So if you can take out your virtual cake, and if you like chocolate, you can have chocolate or vanilla or marble or red velvet, whatever kind of cake you like, carrot cake. But here's the point at which, first of all, just a huge thank you to Governor Evers for convening this task force, and it was truly an honor to be able to lead the task force. But my heartfelt thanks to all of you that have served as task force members. You've all taken your role very, very seriously. You've been engaged. You've given up time from your jobs or your school or your day, whatever it looks like, a pretty significant chunk of time to be part of this. And your engagement has been phenomenal. Thank you all for agreeing to serve the public in a very, very meaningful way. It's an honor to serve. I know that. I feel that every day. And I couldn't be prouder to have had and more fortunate to had the opportunity to serve alongside with all of you. And my hope is that someday down the road, I can't make any promises, but I have a vision of a celebration when timing is different. And the celebration won't necessarily be the end or the commencement of this task force. The celebration will be around meaningful change in Wisconsin for student debt holders. So whether it's legislation that gets passed, the budget, milestones along the way from our 8 recommendations, I do see a time and a place where we will be able to get together in person and actually look back upon this day and the last 8 meetings and feel very proud of the hard work and effort that went into serving on this task force. So to all of you on the task force, my heartfelt thank you for your time, your talents, your energy, and your expertise and your passion around this topic. Another group of people that I would like to thank today, if you move to the next slide, is all the people that presented. We had people literally from across the country that were able to come and present to our task force. And you can see the amazing list of people and experts that we heard from. And it's not an easy thing to come in front of 32 experts on this task force that all to make a presentation in front of them can take a lot of time and preparation. It can be a little intimidating knowing that you have all this expertise in the virtual room, and every single presentation was excellent. We appreciated every single perspective that we heard from, and we heard from many, many different perspectives on the various topics related to student debt. So thank you to all of you that took the time and did a great job presenting. And the next group of people that I would like to thank is our small but mighty working group of people that helped put and consolidate the report, helped facilitate, helped do the listening sessions. That was kind of the road up to this task force during 2019. And you can see here we have a great group of people. So I'm going to talk about Jenny Dye, along with the entire governor's office that helped create this and support this, along with Derek Campbell as well. The treasurer, Sarah Godlewski, we had a great time doing the listening sessions last year, kind of on the road up to the task force. Catherine Haberlin, who is our air traffic controller and helped manage all the white papers, the proposal summaries, our team behind the scenes, and she's our assistant deputy at DFI. Connie Hutchinson, who we heard from both as a task force member, a presenter, and kind of in helping behind the scenes. I think, Connie, you get the award for being on all 3 slides. So thank you. Your insights were invaluable to creating this report. Cody Kastorf, who is the man behind the scenes, the wizard of WebEx, as I call him. who helped facilitate the meetings behind the scenes. You did an excellent job, and we've all learned a lot about WebEx along the way. Jess Nelk, who's our communications director, all the beautiful slides, the beautiful report, all the media advisories, press releases, communications. Jess literally worked night and day for the last 3 months to make this a successful task force. So she's a brilliant communicator. And she was the one that really put the hold on. We tried to not bombard you with emails. We tried to save up everything we had to say so that our communications with you were impactful, but not bombarding you with communications. So, and also all of our social media. So thank you so much. Cheryl Rapp, our college affordability specialist, and her help in terms of research, managing the Look Forward Wisconsin website, and while doing all of her day job as well, and research and really help with the report and the editing and proposal summaries. So thank you, Cheryl. Michelle, who you're all familiar with, you have the best facilitation voice, and you're an incredible facilitator. So thank you. I would take you any day to facilitate any meeting. You just do an amazing job at that. And you even went over and above by learning along with us and contributing valuable information along the way. Lara Sutherland, the administrator at DATCAP, who led one of our breakout sessions along with Connie Hutchinson. That was a big lift. And Lara, you have expertise in consumer protection and adding that value and adding your network of people across the country that are involved with Borrower Bill of Rights and ombudsman and for-profit institutions. Again, extraordinary, helpful to our task force. And Marco, many of you communicated with Marco. Marco was hired right out of college, and to focus on student debt, he came with passion and an appetite for learning. Marco did a phenomenal job with the task force and producing the final report. So thank you, Marco, so much. And then our two interns extraordinaire, Sophie Blumenstein and Emma Steinberger. They are in college today, and they worked so hard and did whatever needed to be done, but they did real research and real content. And I can tell you, when I look at Sophie and Emma and Marco, what I see is a very bright future. If you're a representative of our future to come, your engagement, your intellect, your work ethic, and your passion just make me so happy about what our future holds for us. You did a phenomenal job, and when the time comes and you're looking for your professions, I know the three of you all have passion around the issue, and maybe some of the connections that you've made on this task force will help you in your future career endeavors. So really, thank you to everyone that had a hand in this. I also want to call out Professor Nick Hillman of the UW, who was one of our presenters, as well as Jack Porter from the National Governors Association, because they both helped us with the editing of the report, and on a very, very short timeline, if you think about it, between last week and this week, they did a lot of work and a lot of help and had great insights. So I just really want to call them out for their quick turnaround and help with the editing process. So as you can see, it takes an immense village to put something like this together. So very grateful for all the help. Right, the next slide is our celebration. So if you have a beverage of choice in front of you, you don't have to tell me what it is, but do lift it and let's pretend that we've got fireworks going off because we've reached the end of this journey, and a toast would be appropriate, so that we wish the borrowers of today some relief, and the students of tomorrow the opportunity to complete their higher education with the best strategy for them, so that when they finish, they complete their education, they're left with an appropriate amount of investment debt that is manageable, and the ability to pay that off in a reasonable time frame. And to get there, I believe truly that our 8 recommendations will help us get to that journey. So congratulations to all of you. And again, a heartfelt thanks to everybody. If I missed anyone, I'm so sorry. But a heartfelt congratulations to everyone that participated. Let's look at what's next. So we'll be working over the next few days to finalize the report, just doing the ticking and tying and making sure all of our footnotes and links work, and all that kind of good stuff. And then next week, we will be submitting the final report to Governor Tony Evers. And at the same time, we will email that report, the final report, to all of you, all the task force members. And we'll be distributing that report to the media. And then we'll post that final report to social media and the task force website. So that will happen next week. I don't have the specific date yet, but it'll be likely between Tuesday and Wednesday is our target, but it could change. So I don't, there's a lot of things going on right now. And that is our best guesstimate, but it could get moved out. So, but you will get an email with the final report, and that will be your notification that it has also been sent to the governor and to the media, and will be available on social media. And you're welcome to share our social media. You're welcome to do your own thing or do nothing at all. However you feel comfortable with that. But I know from the front end, many of you ask questions like, when can I communicate something? So the answer this time is really once it is distributed and you have it in your hands, that will be the time in which you can do things with social media. So with that, we will look forward to staying in touch with all of you. We will keep our email address open so that if you do have more ideas or more thoughts or questions, please let us know, or you can individually email any of us. We will keep the Look Forward Wisconsin Student Debt Task Force site live. So again, that body of knowledge, in addition to the giant toolkit that we've created with the final report, all of the materials, the meeting materials will still be housed on the lookforwardwisconsin.gov website. So you'll be able to reach them. And again, that vision of looking to a celebration in the future is one that is near and dear to my heart. So with that, I see a few chats have come in. And thank you very much for your kind words. Again, it's just been a very, quite an to be able to serve in this role. And let's see, Kathy, quick question. Will our task force get the final email when we can share the final report? Yes. So you can see when we send it to the governor, we will also send each of the task force members the final report so that you will then be able to share at that time. Let me pause if there are any other questions, or Michelle, I don't know if any others came in along the way while I was talking.
No, that was the only substantive question. The other items are all congratulations and thanks to everyone on the task force across the spectrum and to the working group and to you as well for your work and dedication as well as to the team. So great comments that everyone should, if they have not been following in the chat, go ahead and sneak a peek at the exchange of cheers across the board and to all task force members.
Well, good. Well, with that, we will close out the final meeting. And again, my sincere thank you to all of you. While I couldn't give you a gift of cake today, I'll give you the gift of time, which I know is very valuable. So instead of a 3-hour meeting, it's a little bit under an hour. So hopefully you can do something for you in those 2 extra hours that you have in your day to day. So, and time has no calories either. So all good that way. Anyways, I've really enjoyed getting to know all of you. Look forward to continuing on this journey. I promise to continue my passion and my advocacy to move these recommendations forward. I'm grateful to have the legislators, Senator Smith, Representative Hasselbein, and Representative Ballwig also on this task force. And I will reach out to you afterwards and continue to have dialogue on how we can move these recommendations forward, both through the budget process and through needed legislation on some of the recommendations. So thank you again to everyone. Enjoy, be well, stay healthy, and take care. Bye-bye.